what do we do as Talborn Urban Organics. And we just thought it was very fitting that we asked Andy and Quinton to join us today. They've been long-time clients of Talborn, using our products in their growing. And Andy and Quinton, they're world-renowned actually as plant breeders. They are part of the Aloe Farm, CND nursery, and the vet plant breeders. They'll go into a bit of all of that now as we go through the questions. And I've actually known Quinton, long time. We studied together actually back in the late 90s. So we go back quite a long way. And everyone, when we studied, everyone knew Quinton as the plant buff. He was plant bedonderd. I mean, he loved plants. And he still does. It hasn't changed. And I would think it's probably got even worse. But a very good thing though. So I think today we're just going to talk a bit around this, sort of their starting in the industry, how they got started on their different journeys, how they came together, and also about some of their specific breeds of Agapanthus and Aloes and things that have really made them famous. The Agapanthus Blackjack, which won the Plant of the Year at the Royal Horticultural Chelsea Flower Show. Then their new pink Agapanthus Blush Pink, first in the world. So I think maybe let's just jump right in. I know Andy and I like to shoot from the hip. We don't really like plans and structure, so we'll do our best to rein ourselves in. So we're going to go through some slides as well. Andy and Quinton will refer to them. But let's maybe just start with how it all started for each of you, how you got into what you're doing.
Well, we believe in Talborn. Let's start with that. And
good way to start.
We've been buying, well, even before Quinton joined me, we've been buying for 23 years already from Talborn. So that's what it is. Where did it all start? It started a long time ago when I was a student. That was in 1972, so just after Woodstock. So you can see it from the bell bottoms and the long hair.
So you were the flower power type of bunny hugger.
Real flower power. Hitchhiking on the way to Barberton to go and look for some rare aloes in the bush. That's how it started. I was very interested. I studied horticulture, not horticulture, but botany, zoology and botany, and then I just fell in love with aloes, and that's where the whole journey started. Bell bottoms and all. Yes, that's how it started. But obviously, it's now 52 years. I read up about the aloes, and then I realized that you get some natural hybrids in the wild. And I decided, well, if I pick one from the Cape and one from KZN and I select the parents, I can make better hybrids than what you find in the wild. So then that's when I started mixing and matching. Of course, the first hybrids I made were absolute crap because I didn't know what I was doing. But that's how the journey started. And obviously then since 1973, which is now 52 years, I've been making hybrids every year, aloe hybrids.
So, thank you, Andy. And then Quinton, I mean, your journey is equally as fascinating. And how did that all go?
Basically, when I was about 3 years old, my mother started dropping me at my grandmother's house for the weekend for some peace and quiet because I was quite a terrorist child. And I started gardening with my grandmother at 3, and it just stuck. I never, ever wanted to do anything else. And then when I was in my late teens, my father tried to persuade me to be an engineer, and I humored him. And then one day I plucked up the courage and I said, listen, please shove the engineering somewhere else. And then he supported me, and I've never looked back. I worked one other job, and then I joined Andy 21 years ago. And we've been hammering out our path as the vet plant breeders ever since.
Yes, so
go for it.
And Quinton's been so good at what he does. So quite recently, I think it's about 2.5 years, he became our breeding partner. Well, I don't know if I shouldn't say that, but maybe I should rather say we breed together.
We have thousands of babies together. Plant babies.
So how did you guys actually officially meet? I mean, all these years back. It's been quite a blossoming relationship. Yes.
No, he came, he worked for another nursery and they came to visit us and I could see this guy can be a good breeder. So somehow he joined me then afterwards, after a bit of discussion between us and it's fortunate that you find somebody who's like-minded to you because me being quite so much older and breeding taking so long to come to the conclusions, it was good for me to have somebody who could just carry the baton and take the projects further after I'm gone one day.
Now, I must just quickly talk about age. I phoned Quinton this morning just to let him know that the travel arrangements have changed. Just let Andy know. He says, "Oh no, the granddad hasn't risen yet." But
I said I hadn't spoken to him yet. It's his nickname. It's nothing offensive.
Thank you.
So let's talk a little bit more in depth about what it actually takes to breed plants and all the in-depth details of to get like these pink agapanthus and these world-class things.
May I start and just tell you where we are right now?
Go for it.
We have.
How long your slideshow is, so go on.
I've got to follow the slide somehow. So we have now 2 nurseries. One at the Aloe farm in Hartbeespoort, and you should follow our Facebook page. It's a pretty good one. We've got 45,000 followers on it, and that's some of the hybrids that we've created over the years and planted in groups like that. And we have another nursery called CND in Limbro Park, both retail outlets that do the production of plants for ourselves, and we supply landscapers. So we are a landscape depot as well. We go for landscapers and for the public. Okay.
Do you want to talk about Agapanthus blackjack, or should we go through a few more questions before we get to that?
Okay, go to questions.
Cool. Okay, so Quinton, let's just talk a bit about just the mediums and how you put together the different mediums to grow the various plants that you grow, and also how Talborn has actually been integrated into that and the relationship you've had over the years.
I think let's start with the relationship. About 23 years, give or take, I was working at another company, and a very friendly lady stopped in, this friendly lady over here. And she told me all about this amazing product. And I thought, nah, it's too good to be true. It's not possible. So, of course, I tested it side by side with everything we had at the time, and that was it. I've used it ever since. If it's good, it's good. It works, it works. We use it for multiple reasons. Obviously, it's environmentally friendly, doesn't mess up your pH. It's naturally slow release. It promotes pest and disease resistance in your plants. Just remember, most people here are farmers. Container production is very different to farming, but it does give you a lot of the same benefits. So, yeah, we still use it. We use the 634, we use the 232, we use the 315 a bit in different applications, in our fields, in our containers.
When we have our little Agapanthus and Aloe seedlings that big, and we start sprinkling Talborn dust on them, they just say thank you. And
yeah, with no damage whatsoever.
Absolutely fantastic.
Then, just from a sustainability, it's quite a strong theme in your work. And how important is that in your breeding strategy as well?
Well, look, for us, breeding is really hit and miss. We pick extremely carefully, pick our parents that we're going to use, and we raise the progeny. But we never quite know exactly what the results is going to be. So we have to raise numbers. It's a numbers game. And in order to do it, I wouldn't say it's profitable, because my accountant said it's a cock business plan, but that's beside the point. Because it took us 18 years to create blackjack. So it's a slow process to create a new variety. But we need a plant food that will speed up the process, because if you keep the plants for another year, it means it costs you a lot of money. So we have to get them to flower as quickly as possible, grow and flower as quickly as possible, so we can get them out of the system to replace them with the new generation. And that is why Telborn has been brilliant for us.
But in terms of sustainability in the environment, the Aloe farm in winter has up to 5 species of sunbirds. The Groot Mariko flies all the way from Rustenburg to come and sample our Telborn enhanced nectar because it's tastier and healthier. So we respect the environment. We've got lots of squirrels, lots of birds. The vultures are there. The farm's quite alive with a lot of wildlife.
Yeah, look, I can attest to that. Claire and I try to get through there when the aloes are in full flower each year. And it's something to behold. I mean, if you guys are ever up in Gauteng in winter, you have to go past the aloe farm and just see the variety of what they've got there. Not just the plants alone, but again, the wildlife that you see, these natural gardens they've created. It really does speak a lot to just the passion that these two gents have, and just the ability and the skill they have to develop and create the plants that they do. It's very cool. So yeah, do yourselves a favor. Would you like to go through anything else? Any more slides?
Okay.
Questions? But
oh, well, lots of slides. So blackjack, that's our pride and joy, because that's the first time a South African has ever won. Well, first time an Agapanthus was ever entered at the Chelsea Flower Show, and it's the first time a South African has ever won the best new plant of the year at the Chelsea Flower Show, and that we did with blackjack. So we love the plant.
I think the beginning of that story is in 2005 when I joined Andy. We said, all these pelargoniums, Barberton daisies, that is a staple in the industry are all bred overseas. And it's at what point is a South African going to breed famous South African plants? It took us nearly 20 years, but we finally did it. Yes. So making South Africa proud.
Very much so.
And what I love about Agapanthus blackjack is it's not just an unusual color. It is an extremely powerful plant. It grows faster than almost any Agapanthus I know, and it flowers like a beast. And also, what we try and do is to extend the flowering season so that the blackjack can flower for 3 months, which normally Agapanthus flower once, and that's done then. That's the numbers that we breed, and you have to understand what that means. I'm sure most of you have had a child. You've conceived a child, and there's the wife is pregnant, and we're expecting, what are we gonna get? So when we've done our breeding, we sit with so many promises, and if you look at it carefully, you'll see every little pot. It's a 9 centimeter square pot. Everyone has got a tag because everyone is a different combination. So there is so much exciting expectation and promise in just a table like that. Obviously, that we had to flower within 18 months to make room for the next batch.
Look, the breeding is so advanced that more so on the aloes, but also the Agapanthus, some of those plants have 50 parents. And it's all tracked, it's all recorded.
Well, that year we pulled the ring out of it, and I can see there's Quinton standing and thinking, "What have I done?" I don't know where I'm going to plant it. And that's an example of what the label could look like. So we do keep track of every parent in the project, in the heritage of the plant, and that is all abbreviated to keep track.
Everything's gone to codes now because to write that is ridiculous.
Yeah, and of course, once we've created a new hybrid, our plants are sold worldwide, but we do not sell plants worldwide. I always say we're like rock stars in the music industry. We're in the rock stars in the plant industry, because what we do is we create a product, same as Paul Simon would have a hit song, and then we would register the intellectual property rights on it, which is very expensive, and then send it to the growers. We've got an agent who represents us overseas. They take it to reputable growers overseas. They grow the plant then under license, and we get paid a tippence for every plant that is sold.
A royalty. Yeah, it's in euros.
And then, of course, we've got to do numbers. Once we've registered the cultivar, we do it in tissue culture, and we got thousands of little plants then that come pip-klein back to us, and then we have to grow them to size.
So with all this global attention that you guys have received, how has this influenced you just in terms of your direction and aspiration as breeders?
It just adds more motivation to existing strong base of motivation.
And as Pinky said to the brain, we want to conquer the world. And we are working on... South African plants have been neglected in the past in being bred properly and being bred in South Africa. So at the moment we are working on 30 different plant genera. So a genus is, Aloe is a genus, Agapanthus is a genus. We're working on 30 different plant genera at the moment, mostly indigenous, and mostly with the aim of creating drought-resistant hardy plants that are ornamental and that will find a unique place in the market.
And your cultivars, would you say they're becoming ambassadors for South African horticulture?
Well, yes, I would say so. We're very fortunate that if we win something like at the Chelsea Flower Show, people start to recognize you, and they start knowing that South Africa can also produce something better than the politicians we do produce.
Chelsea is the best equivalent. It's the World Cup of flower shows. It's the best one to win.
And what we're trying to do actually is to make South African plants great again.
Any more slides?
Lots.
Lots.
That's just our Agapanthus production under the trees. That is a bit of a show of what the colors can be that we get. And we are very strict in our selection, very, very strict. An example is all 5 of those magnificent plants became compost because they didn't make the grade. And of course, breeding is often a thankless job because this is the albuca. So albuca is a very nice evergreen bulb, South African indigenous bulb that is very tough and everything else. We worked for about 10 years with them, but we couldn't get the ugly brown and green stripes out of the flower, so eventually we canned it. So you can see how expensive it becomes after a while. And of course the aloes. What we do is we do a selection of the I would say a soft selection of the plants we deem have potential. So what we'll do then is grow them further and test them a bit further, but then there's a huge proportion of that just get dumped because we can see they're not going to make it. They might be disease prone, proportions not right, flower color, whatever. There's lots of different criteria. Then they just get dumped. But fortunately at the aloe farm, we with the aloes, we have a small portion that we know that won't make the grade, but they're too nice to throw away. And that's why we have such nice aloe gardens. We've got a feed of new plants all the time into the gardens. And that's an example of some of our rejects in flower beds on the aloe farm. And then when we send plants, we wash them beautifully, and that's how we pack them and send them we courier to customers. So if any of the landscapers need Agapanthus, we can do it.
Okay, these ones are prepared for export, a little bit different style.
So that is our agent, a Hollander, Peter van Rissen, and that is Dietes, which is a South African iris. But that's one that we bred with mutation breeding, and it's called Dietes Milky Way. But look at that fantastic plant. And of course, what we do is we're also involved in conservation. So on the mountain where we live, there's one of the most beautiful South African aloes. It's called Aloe. It's highly endangered. So you can see how beautiful it is. So we have two things that we do. We hybridize it to make it easier to grow and to take the pressure off the actual species that's in the mountain. It's on the red data list. And we also work with the biosphere. They give us seed collected from the mountain, and then we raise seedlings to that sort of size, and they get redistributed then back to the farmers that plant them back in the mountain. And the Botanical Society also, we gave them recently, I think, about 7,000 peglorae, and they have volunteers that plant them back in the mountain.
So can you actually balance the sort of the art? A well-deserved applause. Can you actually balance the technical and artistic side of plant breeding, or is it just like whatever comes up, you just choose what looks the best, or do you have an idea of what you're actually going to get?
No, there are both sides, sort of art and science. The creative side is the vision to make these products and how you're going to get there, and the passion. But the technical side is understanding the industry. You might love it, but you export it to America, no one buys it. So you have to know the industry. What do they want? Tall flowering, early flowering, late flowering, short, big, small, tall. So that's where the technical and experience side comes into it. So it's a balance of the two, absolutely.
So sometimes, like the color of Agapanthus blackjack, I mean, that is a magnificent color and everything else, but it had to fit. It had to fit a whole bunch of criteria. So I think we've probably destroyed about something like 15 to 20,000 black Agapanthus to get to the one that we liked.
We normally sit at a 0.01% selection rate.
Yes, this is Aloe albida, for example. That's also quite a rare aloe that grows in the mountains in Barberton, and we made a hybrid with arborescens to give it that sort of same look. Maybe for people who want that look, they could get that. And then that is Aloe marlotti. That's becoming highly endangered. It's common in the wild, but it's being collected by the thousands, especially on the Highveld, because guys collect it, they bring it and sell it to unsuspecting landscapers, often buy from them, and the public off the back of a bakkie. So we've made hybrids. Look at that. That's one of the Marlotti hybrids. Look at the color. We try and enhance it there. The thing is with plants, aloes specifically, they flower in the winter, and there's a very good reason for that, because they nothing else flowers in the winter, especially in the summer rainfall areas. So when they flower, they feed birds and insects, and that nourishment the birds can't get anywhere else. So as soon as you start removing them from the wild, the bird population and a lot of your insect population drops. So that's why it's important for us to try and prevent people from taking them from the wild.
So that leads on to just a question that was coming up now. So what, in terms of the world of horticulture, what trends or challenges are you guys seeing that are either exciting you or worrying you? I mean, that already taking things out of the wild to sell to unsuspecting.
Yeah, well, this mass exodus of our rare succulent plants from the Western Cape to China is Clivia mirabilis and other things. Not one or two plants. They almost destroyed the entire population of Clivia mirabilis in 2 nights. And most of those plants sat in the storerooms at Sandby and rotted because they couldn't give them to the public to look after. So this collection of plants is terrifying. The biodiversity is going.
And one has to understand how hard it is for a plant to make it in the wild. I often like to make the example of, let's say you take a normal thorn tree in the wild. It would make, let's say, 10,000 seeds a year. It will live for, let's say, 100 years. Now we're talking about a lot of seed. What percentage do you think will eventually be successful of that seed? There's no percentage. One plant out of maybe 10 million seeds, one plant. Why do I make such a bold statement? Because I've got no scientific data to back me up. Because there's a balance in nature. There'll always be just so many Aloe peglerae in the mountain. There'll only be so many thorn trees in the bush. So every plant there that breaks its heart producing seed every year only gets replaced by one plant. And that's why we should never disregard a plant that's in the wild and just collect it or let somebody collect it. That's why we have to protect our heritage so much.
Want to go through more slides?
Yeah, did you ever think an aloe could have a flower like that? So I don't know if you've seen that. That aloe is called Marilyn. I don't know if you've ever seen that picture of Marilyn Monroe, where you can almost see something you shouldn't be looking at. And that's another aloe, very rare in Soutpansberg, called Angelica because of the beauty of it. And that's what it looks like. So if you see that, you think, what can we do with it? And then that's a hybrid of Angelica. So you've got to try and get the best characteristics and enhance them somehow. And then you all know the quiver tree. Now, the quiver tree, there was a lady who did research on them, and some of those really big trees that fell over, she did aging on them, and some of them were astonishing 800 years old. I couldn't believe it. So that tree in itself would probably be 500, maybe even 600 years old, and what we've done is we've created a hybrid. Look at that handsome guy next to it. That is called Aloe Samson. That plant is 17 years old, and it looks like a quiver tree, but you never see a quiver tree in any garden in almost any part of South Africa, but these things will grow in any garden. Our journey with the releasing of plants into the industry started with Aloe hedgehog. That's the first one that Melansians took up from us, and that started to become famous and giving us something to ride on to go further. And that is the main buildings of Tukkies University in Pretoria. That's Aloe peri peri. So it's got a complicated name, and Perieri was the first species. And then our staff started getting confused, and they started calling it piri piri, and then the name stuck. So now it's piri piri. That's a very good landscaping plant, as you can see. Tukkies, the horticulturalists there, say it's bulletproof.
They even say it's ride-proof after all those rides.
So, do you want to go on to the birds?
Yeah, you.
The feathered kind, or?
Your turn.
Oh, my turn, okay. So, okay, we're looking at all these beautiful cultivars. But is there anything new that's sort of in the pipeline that we can look forward to, whether it's aloes, aggies, any of the Plectranthus you breed?
All of the above.
All of the above.
If we tell people we have to kill them, there's too many of you. No, there's an enormous pipeline of new stuff coming, because any plant we work with, like Agapanthus, we start and we have a goal of making a pink one and a black one, but then along the way, we want to make all the colors as a cut flower, and then we want to make a pot plant, and then we want to make a medium size in all the colors, and we want them to rebloom, and then we want double flowers in all the colors. So the even one avenue of breeding can branch out into a lot. So we really do have a pipeline of fantastic plants coming. Just watch the space.
I just thinking about that. That sounds like a pretty good business opportunity. I think your accountant's cock.
Yeah. It just took so long. But look how amazing nature is. This is a sunbird on the Aloe farm sipping on a bird, and the open flowers hang down, so that this sunbird with its dainty legs has got a place to perch. It was designed by nature to perch the beak is just long enough to get to the nectar. The bees can't get to it because it's a tube. So the bees are unwelcome for the nectar. It's only reserved for them. And as they stick their beak in there, all the naughty bits are there around the snorbaarde. So you can see, look, there's a bit of pollen sitting there. So it collects pollen while it's sipping, and the one hand washes the other. And that's how nature just works together. Isn't it amazing? And then, of course, there are also insects, but I'm not going to talk about them today. And, of course, butterflies also love the aloes. You can see that Caterpillar florella. And then we create monsters too. Feed me, Seymour. Did you see that movie? And then even for the GBDG, I've forgotten all the letters, but we have a big one. There's a Tichumeria set. We made a set of compact Tichumeria. They normally don't flower that well, and we want to make them compact. We wanted to make them compact so that they fit in a normal garden.
I'll just quickly, I'm thinking about Tichumeria. When Quinton and I were studying, we used to go to the Boyson's Town Council nurseries for practical training. And I just remember those Tichumerias lining the driveway coming in, and we had to go and prune them and cut them back. But they were rambling into every tree all over the place. So I think, I can see the reason for having compact ones. So let's just quickly, there's probably a question that, am I running out of battery? No, I'm okay. It's a question that I know you don't like, but maybe you might. But
I'll answer this time.
Like about a girl, maybe.
So, you've created so many plants, but are there any particular favorites that stick out that are really just that extra special to you?
Do you want to answer?
I'm going to give you an angle because I had to think about this. So, of course, I like most of the plants I've created, but my mind is always focused on the next best one. So when we started breeding for pink Agapanthus, it's been a myth. It never existed. People have tried. Anyway, we did it because we said Agapanthus contain anthocyanin, the compound responsible for red and pink, so we can do it. I spent 18 years to do it. I did it, and now it's like, oh, blush pink's nice, but I want the dark pink one. So that's how my mind works.
Yes, but there are plants that are special to us. Obviously, always blackjack would be special to us in the first pink. But I also have two aloes. One that I named after my dad, it's called Aloe Charles, and there's another one called Aloe Sunny after my mom, and they planted on their grave and they flower together every year. So that makes a plant special to you.
That's actually a very good story.
So that's a cotyledon hybrid that we made. We're working on the bulbines. Then we've got Tichumeria as well, and this is a trial. Plecanthus. This is a trial in America in a big nursery. That's Mona Lavender on the right, and our Magic Mona is our new variety on the left. Just as a comparison, they were testing it to see which one they would use. It's obvious, isn't it? And that's what it looks like in a pot in Quinton's garden.
Just quickly on the trials, over the years of us working alongside you and me doing gardens and you doing your horticulture thing, you've trialed many different products and compared them to how Telborn has grown your plants. What is it about the Telborn products that they actually do and give your plants that the others don't?
Well, versus any other organic product that I've ever tested, and I think I've tested probably almost all of them, it's as in the old days, chalk and cheese. The side-by-side trials, the Telborns grow faster, grow bigger, or healthier. There's no comparison. You don't have to look at them and say, I think that one's better. It's just, Telborn one is always better.
So Quinton is let me qualify that. Quinton is obsessed with the feeding of plants and all the chemicals that we use and the pH and all those kind of things. And every new product that comes out, we test against what we think is the best. So we obviously have Telborn as our benchmark. And no matter how much bravado they bring the new products out with, they just have not in proper trials. None of them have stood up to Telborn. It's just what it is.
No, thank you for that. Okay, we're going to wrap up shortly, but what sort of advice then would you give to youngsters that are wanting to get into horticulture, plant breeding, botany, your world?
Follow your passion, and if you want to do plant breeding, start as soon as you can and pick something, because it takes forever. It does.
I think passion is not negotiable in any industry, but especially in this one. If you're doing it as a second choice, I don't recommend it.
Yeah, no, it could be a hobby to start with, but it should be done properly. That is the Kazania that we've also bred, sun carpet. We've also worked on the Kniphofia, the red hot pokers, Octotus, the gousblomme. Fantastic, because look at the colors that they have, the blends of colors in a daisy. Daar's nie 'n ander daisy wat sulke kleur skakering vir jou op een blom kan gee nie. And that was our first, also special Agapanthus. It's the first one that went worldwide and people started recognizing what we could do. And it's called Twister. That's Midnight Sky. We want to set a standard for dark blue. Full head with open flowers facing you. And then we try and open up the flowers to get that extra out of them. And of course, there's a Mad Hatter. Using Telborn, he's got a seedling there.
Using or eating?
It looks like it. That's a seedling that's 7 months old. That's what we've achieved using
normal Agapanthus praecox genetics, 18 months or more seed to flower.
And that one's got 2 flowers.
So this is genetics and feeding.
And then that's some of the future aloes that we've created. It's still in the pipeline. It takes forever for us to have stock to fill the supply chain before we can actually put it out in the market. And that's another one. One flower. That's a derivative of Aloe ferox, which grows down here in the Cape areas. One flower and one plant. And that's yours truly in the hippie era. But thank you for the journey so far with us. We finished them.
We're getting there. So, I mean, when you guys are not breeding together and looking after all your babies, what inspires you outside of the nursery? What do you guys do when you're not stuck in the nursery? Although I've never seen you not stuck in the nursery, but what interests you?
My hobby is playing guitar for myself.
You know why Andy goes on holiday? Because his wife says he must. I like outdoor stuff, hiking with the kids, seeing plants outdoors, outside of the nursery, mountain biking, reading, and just spending time with my kids, basically.
And looking at plants wherever it is. Cool. We're a bit obsessed, but I think you need to be obsessed with what you do, because it actually helps you to just keep going and going deep into the subject that you're working with. So whatever you guys are doing, just do it better.
Yeah, no, very good advice. Are there any more slides you'd like to go through, or you're pretty much done? You just wanted to show us your big moustache there.
It was a blob on the negative. I could never get it off.
But look, Andy and Quinton, we just want to thank you so much for your time. We've enjoyed hearing from you. And we just really appreciate and thank you for your support over the years, your commitment and passion to the industry. And we look forward to many, many more years just walking alongside with you and enjoying the journey. So thank you so much.
Thank you for
being on the journey with us.
Yeah.